Marcus Freeman. Coach Freeman will begin with a few opening remarks. After that, please raise your hand for a microphone for one question and one follow-up. Coach Freeman.
I want to start off again by thanking the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans for hosting us. It was a great environment. Thursday seems like forever ago, but it was a great moment for our entire program. And I want to make sure I give due credit to Georgia and Coach Smart. I tried to tell him after the game, but those moments can be so brief and chaotic. But the job he's done leading that football program these past, I think, 9 years, it's the standard for college football. And I got a lot of respect for him as a coach in that Georgia football program. So I want to make sure I said that. Quickly had to turn our attention. By the time we got to the plane, coaching staff had to turn our attention to Penn State. And as special as that victory was, we almost put all our effort in our attention to preparing for Penn State and, making sure that we're ready for this opportunity in front of us. If you don't prepare the right way, the reality is that moment on Thursday will be our last great moment. And nobody wants that, right? Nobody in our program wants that. But the reality is it doesn't matter what you want. It's going to be about what you're willing to do. And so we have to understand that and put the work in necessary to achieve the result that we want. The only injury update from the game is that Cooper Flanagan will be out for the remainder of the CFP with a foot injury. But other than that, which is, again, you miss Coop and love him and what he brings to this team. But other than that, everybody else was clean. It was a pretty clean game in terms of injuries. Moving forward to Penn State, again, I got a lot of respect for Coach Franklin and the job he's done at Penn State and at Vandy before that. It's a very talented, disciplined, tough football team, very creative offense. That utilizes a bunch of different personnels, a bunch of different formations. It's going to force you to be extremely disciplined in terms of your eyes and your adjustments in terms of defensive football. I think their tight end, 44, Warren, is, one of the best players in college football, period, regardless of position. Very impressed by the film I've seen of him. Both of their running backs are extremely good players, and both of them are home run threats. They're power runners. They got speed, good balance. They're tough. I think they're extremely talented players, and the quarterback is playing as well as he has all season. He's playing confident. He's throwing the ball well, making really good decisions, staying in the pocket, and delivering good balls. So their offense is going to present a great challenge for us defensively. They create a lot of havoc, and it doesn't have to be with a pressure, but their front four create havoc. They do a good job stopping the run and getting after the quarterback in the pass game. And like I just said about the tight end, number 11, that DN Carter, I think his name, he's as good as anybody in college football at his position. I mean, he's a talented pass rusher. So they got some guys. I think they're fourth in FBS in terms of interceptions. I mean, they got guys, and it's a good team. And so, we're going to have a challenge to prepare the right way and get ready for this opportunity that lies ahead of. So with that, we'll open up for questions.
Third row on your right, top Noy. Or second row, sorry.
Marcus, what is it about this group of captains, this group of seniors, in terms of leadership that is maybe unique to this football team?
I think the thing I respect about them most is the way they led when things weren't going so well, right? The ability to stand in front of the team, the ability to say this is our culture and this is what we're going to do and this is the work we're going to put in. I got a lot of respect for them. I've said this before, but culture's revealed in tough moments. I met with the captains last night about, the plan for this week, and I couldn't even get it out of my mouth before they said, Coach, we have to move forward. We have to move forward. If we didn't listen to this noise before now, why are we changing? And so they're taking the things I've said now it's just a strong belief, and they are truly an extension of me in that locker room, and it's great when you have players leading your program.
And maybe an example of something that you thought, okay, I need to run this by the captains or the seniors or the leaders. I'm going to go talk to them, and then, but you would then when you start to talk to them, they've already addressed it. What would it be?
I don't know if that situation has exactly happened where they've addressed. I'm trying to think as you asked that question. Listen, we talked about curfew last night, and before I could even say, hey, what time's curfew? It's coach want to keep it the same. And those are the little things that those guys, they understand and they believe. Like I want them to be empowered, and that's why we have these meetings. I want them to feel part of the decisions we make. But I can make the same decisions without them being there, and they're gonna. I mean, we're on the same wavelength. So it's a really good group of leaders.
Up the middle aisle on the left, third row, Vahid Sadrazada.
Hey, Marcus. So after week 2 was about handling the success, and after NIU playing with the pain of that loss. Fast forward 4 months, another win, almost the same score against an SEC opponent. How do you handle success this week and the noise that's starting to generate around the team?
Yeah, it's probably louder than this week than it's ever been, and. I think it's human nature to enjoy people saying good things about you. It's human nature. But we've talked all year about being misfits, right? And that's what we have to continue to be. You have to make the choice to either waste time listening to people tell you how good you are or what the past has been, or you're going to put your time into preparing for this opportunity right in front of us. And that's been my message loud and clear, and we all have to make that choice. It's not the initial thought of daydreaming about the past or an uncertain future. It's that second thought that as soon as you start thinking about the past or what somebody's saying about your future that's uncertain, get back in the moment and put the work in that it takes to get the outcome that you want. Like, don't dream about the outcome. Put the work in. The minute you start dreaming about the outcome, put the work in that it takes to get that. And that's a personal challenge for everybody in our program.
I asked you a month ago about your quarterback and what you've learned about him throughout the season. What did you learn about Riley Leonard after the Sugar Bowl, and specifically after the Sugar Bowl?
It just, again, confirms what we've all learned about him. He is an ultra-competitive individual that finds ways to get his job done. And it's never perfect, but in the most crucial moments, he's going to find a way. And that's through decision-making, that's through his legs, that's through having to jump over somebody and flip on his head to get a first down. He's doing exactly what we asked him to do. And he's the first one, just like I would tell you about myself, that wants more. He has more. I have more, and we got to find a way to get more. But he's done a heck of a job, and he just finds a way.
Third row on your right, Tim Priester.
Coach, with obviously Jeremiah Love compromised to some degree, Jadarian Price steps to the forefront, but Aeneas Williams, if you could talk about the assets that he came here with and how he has developed, because it seems like you're in a position to lean on him more and more, maybe more, of course, with Love compromised.
Yeah. He's a kid. Aeneas is a guy that we identified in camp, had a lot of talent. And I remember when we offered him right after camp. And he had a great senior year. He came here with a lot of ability, but he had to earn trust. Can you get your job done? Can you do exactly what your coach wants you to do over and over and over? And all he's done is continue to earn more trust throughout the season. And at first it was more just, hey, trust in the pass game, like can he protect and get his job done? And now you can put him in there at any moment, run game, pass game, get the ball in his hands, throw the ball to him. He's going to protect. He's a tough guy. And I love it because it just shows that he's put the work in. Because everybody that comes into our program has talent. Like, we've identified that. We're not going to bring you into our program if you don't have talent. But the ability to get you to play starts with your ability to play fast, right? And so what Aeneas has done is he's expedited that process through work, through intentional work, not just the work that everybody does in 20 hours. He's putting extra work to expedite the process of playing fast, playing physical, and getting his job done. And so credit to him. I mean, he's done a heck of a job. Coach McCullough's done a great job with him too.
And then another personnel-related question on the other side of the ball. Junior Tui Alamaka was a guy that started out third team. He's coming around. He's playing at a pace that we didn't see before. The other day, Coach Golden said, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, where would we be without Junior? Could you speak to that?
Yeah, that's wild, man. I just wish that you could show everybody in your program what the future is when we start. I mean, Junior's a great example that I'm going to talk about now, but it could be utilized for so many guys in our program that, yeah, after fall camp, he was the third Viper. And he worked, and I'm sure there was probably people in his ear saying, maybe you want to redshirt and go into the portal. And he just is committed to this place, committed to getting better and working, not worrying about how many plays he's playing. And now you're talking about the biggest games of the year. This dude is making game-changing plays. And so I think I said this after the game, like, we cannot be obsessed with the role as much as the work you put into the role you're given. Because if you do that, you're going to be a guy like Junior, and in the biggest moments of the year, you've just improved because you put everything into the roles that have been determined for you all season, and now you're making plays in the Sugar Bowl. And I love it, man. I love it for him. I love the example that he sets for our entire program.
Back of the room, Levon Whitaker.
Coach, I know you just talked about this on ESPN, but being able to have the potential to be the first black coach in the national championship, and that game also falling on Martin Luther King Day. I know you don't want to look too far ahead, but can you speak to the potential of that being a real-life scenario for you and this team?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure to, I love my mom. I love my dad. But, boys love their moms too. And, I want to make sure that, it's well stated that I am half Korean. And, it is an honor. It's a great honor to be even mentioned, to be in this position. It's a reminder that you are a representation for so many others that look like you. And I don't take that for granted. And I'm going to work tirelessly to be the best version of me. And it's great because even the guys in our program, my own kids, can understand, like, don't put a ceiling on what you can be and what you can do. Now, with that being said, it's not about me, and it's not about the head coach. It's about us. And more than anything, I want an opportunity to achieve team glory with this program. That's what's important. And what that means to other people is what it means. But I'm just obsessed and so focused on doing whatever it takes to help us achieve team glory. And that's my mentality, and that's our focus, and that's what's important. It's not who's getting recognition. It's not being the first to do something. It's about, man, we got a chance to obtain team glory here in however many days in the Orange Bowl. And that's what we're going to do, is focus on the preparation that it takes to do that.
Another question, you have a lot of mottos, one play, one life, team glory. I'm curious, at this point in the season, what's the most important, what's your favorite at this point right now?
It's stay in the moment and win the moment. You can't win the moment if you're not in the moment. And that's more important than anything is, yeah, we want team glory. Yeah, it's one day, one life. It's one play, one life. It's one game, all those different things. But understand, most importantly, stay in the moment, win the moment. And the only way to win the moment is to be in the moment. And that's what's important.
Front row on your right, Kurt Rollo.
Can you elaborate a little more on the inspirational impact you and Coach Franklin are having on young people pursuing this profession, really all young people, with regard to coaches of minority backgrounds?
Yeah, like more than anything, if you want to impact the young people in this profession, you probably should do things to help them. And those are things that maybe after the season I could focus on trying to do. Like I want to be a representation. I am a representation, but that's not enough. If you want to truly help some people, then you got to be willing to make decisions and actions that truly help people. And those are things that probably, hopefully after the season, I can do more of. But, right now I'm more focused on getting this team prepared for this opportunity we have in front of us.
And who was maybe someone who you felt helped you or helped open up opportunities that you were able to accomplish this achievement?
There's so many. I mean, so many and so many different races. I mean, the impact Jim Tressel's had on my life, and Luke Fickle and Darrell Hazel, the guys I've worked for, it didn't matter what color they were. It was the way they went about their business. And, but then I've followed Tony Dungy from afar, reading his books, meeting with him, Mike Tomlin from afar, Todd Bowles. I mean, there's great coaches, but you don't just follow them because of color of their skin. You follow them because their actions and the men of integrity they are and their hard work. I think of Nick Saban. I think of Kirby Smart. I mean, those are guys you got to be yourself, but you're a fool if you don't study what the best do. There's something that they do that is helping them have success. So I have to be Marcus Freeman, but I'm going to study I'm going to study those guys, and some of them happen to be minorities, and some of them don't.
Going to Zoom, Devin Jackson from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Hey, good morning, Marcus. Thanks for taking some time this morning. Wanted to ask about your defensive coordinator, Al Golden. How important has that hire been for your defense, and what makes him, such a special defensive mind and getting your defense to play really well, even though I know you had some injuries this year?
He's been a tremendous hire for our program, not just our defense. He is a tireless worker. He's got experience. He's intelligent. He finds a way to motivate his players and to get them to play at a high level. And I know we're talking about him, but there's a lot of guys on our staff that do those same things. But he's been huge. And the thing I love him is that the love about him is that he's able to work together well with his staff, and they produce a great output. And he's collaborative. I couldn't speak. I don't even know if I have enough time to continue to give him compliments, but he's been great for our staff.
Back row on
Then
the
I-
left. Oh, sorry, Devin.
sorry.
Go ahead with the second question. You're good.
Yeah. I was gonna say as a follow up, obviously his experience coaching at the NFL level, being a head coach at a FBS or a couple of FBS programs as well. How do you lean on that experience as well as and gather some background in some of the decision making he makes? And I know he's your defensive coordinator, but I guess how important has he been to you as well with his experience at the NFL level and also leading the program?
Yeah, probably similar to the question, the answer I gave for the previous question. There's no substitution for experience. And if Al Golden or anybody else on our staff has experience in a situation that maybe I don't, I'm a fool not to use the wisdom that they've gained from their experience. And at the end of the day, I got to make a decision. But I like to gain wisdom from others that have experience doing things that maybe I haven't, and come up with my own decision after that.
Back row on the left, Sean Stiers.
Hey, Marcus. Jordan Clark has said, like when he was at Arizona State last year, he was pretty banged up most of the season. So I'm curious, kind of that evaluation you did of him, and then when he comes here, just everything that you've gotten from him this year, and has it maybe even exceeded, what you might have thought you would get from him this year?
Man, Jordan is tough. My evaluation of Jordan was the film that I watched. He's a dang good football player, and he's tough because I did hear about the injuries, and he played through a lot of injuries. And a guy willing to play when he doesn't feel 100% speaks volumes about the competitiveness of that individual. Then he gets here, and his leadership traits, his the ability to make people in that room better, his athleticism, his coverage skills. He's a guy that had shown at Arizona State to play multiple different positions. And, the way he's improved that room, I think that's probably a bigger impact than anything. He came here to compete for championships and to put himself in a better opportunity to go to the NFL. But I think what he's done for this program far exceeds that. And he's made this program better, and we're dang glad that he's a part of our defense.
I'm also curious about the logistics of the fourth down play at your own 18-yard line, because you got 22 guys running off the, on and off the field. There's a lot that can potentially, kind of break down. So just, how much you practice something like that, how you call something like that on the sideline without sort of alerting everyone in the stadium something's going to happen. Just any light you can shed on some of those details.
Yeah, we practiced it to a point where I felt like we couldn't get it wrong. I don't want to go out there and guess. And if it's going to be something that we do, I want to make sure we practice it over and over in the different situations, the different hashes that ball could have been on. And, is it after a timeout, or is it, with a 40-second clock or a 25-second clock? We had to practice all those situations. And, then we went out and we executed. You don't always know how the opposing team's going to respond. I didn't know if they were going to call a timeout or, they did a great job. It was actually good for us to see defensively of don't panic, get lined up. They got their 11 guys on the field, and the guy happened to jump off sides. But I thought they did a great job of not panicking, which the whole point of that is try to get somebody to panic and, maybe call a timeout or do something like that. But they didn't panic, and, but we had a plan. We practiced it for many days.
Front row on your right, John Bryce.
Marcus, I think you guys, familiar favorite topic of mine, have scored more than 140 points in the middle eight, and maybe only two opponents have scored against you during the middle eight. So how specifically in practice have you worked to become that efficient and that effective in that 8-minute quadrant? And for you specifically, where do you feel you've grown in that 8-minute session?
Yeah, we practice 2-minute situations multiple times a week. We practice some of those, we call them last play situations that can occur, in the middle eight a couple times a week, and then you come out of halftime and it's important to start fast. And so, that's a mindset that we have. There's different ways to practice starting fast. We intentionally put some breaks, a halftime break essentially in practice, and we got to start fast right after that. And so I don't want to say it's, not because of preparation. We prepare, our guys are doing a great job, but at the end of the day, you got to win the interval on that play, and then the game is made up of a lot of intervals, right? And that's to me what our guys are able to do is to, I think there was 39 seconds left. I can't remember the exact time when Junior, or was it Junior? RJ, when RJ, forced a sack. But RJ won the interval on that play. You know, the next play, Riley and Bo won the interval. And so I don't just want to generalize and say, hey, the middle eight, we've done it. Like, it's about winning the interval on that play. And this is the only thing consistent in the game is this is the only play that matters. That's what I told the guys. I remember before the game, I'm like life, the game is unpredictable. It is. How you handle the unpredictable things that happen in your life, how you handle the unpredictable things that happen in a game is what makes it a success. And if we can keep winning the interval on this play is the only thing that's important, not the last play, not the next play. If you can keep that as consistent as you can, then you're going to probably have a lot of success.
So along the lines of winning the interval, if you win the last intervals before the half and the first intervals out of the half, what does that do to buoy your team, and what do you think it presents from a challenge to the opposition?
Yeah, I just, I never want to take the foot off the gas. And I don't care if we're up or down. Like, we got to come out of the locker room in the second half. We got to finish the first half, to answer your question. Finish the first half, in a good way. But we got to come out of the locker room with a sense of urgency, no matter what the situation is. And I remember challenging them in the locker room. I think we were up 10, maybe 10. Like, don't survive this thing. I think it's human nature at sometimes to survive. We're up 10. I mean, I remember watching Georgia, just come back versus multiple teams this season. I knew those guys would come out ready to go, and fortunate for us, we came out of the locker room and returned the kickoff return for a touchdown. And the result of that is 11 guys doing their job, and so it's a mentality. But you got to have your guys got to do it, man. These guys got to go out there and get it done, and they've been doing it.
Front row on your left, Tyler Horka.
You guys won a playoff game with only 90 passing yards, and it's kind of similar to the way the last national champion won a lot of its games last year. How feasible is it, with what you know about these four teams that are still in it, to kind of grind out games and win it that way, almost in a throwback fashion?
Yeah, I don't. All I know is that this upcoming opponent does a heck of a job on defense, and their offense creates challenge. They run the ball, probably built similar to us in terms of the way they've had success. Maybe don't run the quarterback as much as we have, but I think each week it's what does it take to win, and that was probably the best defense we've seen all year. I don't care about stats. I'm just telling you about personnel and about scheme. Like that was a really good defense, and so we knew we weren't going to be able to just have 400 yards of offense. We had to be really smart. We had to take care of the football. Like, we knew our offense we knew we wanted to run the ball no matter what, and it was a defense that stops the run, but we had to find ways to get positive running yards and rushing yards, and that means even sometimes running Riley. But we had to take care of the football, and they did that. And defensively, we wanted to stop the run, and that's the number one thing we did defensively. We stopped the run. I knew in my heart, I said, okay, passing yards aren't going to beat us this game. It's rushing yards, and we did a really good job defensively doing that. And our special teams were superior. Our special teams was excellent. Mitch was great, and there was positives in all those phases. But that was the formula for that game. We haven't defined yet the keys to victory for this game, but for certain there's going to be something similar to what it was last game versus this team.
With the quick turnaround, probably the quickest turnaround you guys have had all year, maybe ever. The tragedy, the postponement, Penn State's been off for a couple more days. The logistics of all this, how are you guys going about navigating that and getting ready to play another game just as big as the one that you just did?
Yeah, like I said, man, how you handle the unpredictable things in life will determine the success. And so the greatest thing about this week is, like, it's just a normal game week. So we always view coaches or we're people, we view it as Saturday, right? So we played game day Saturday. Yesterday was game week Sunday. Today's game week Monday. And so we've done this type of schedule for 10 out of 12 games, during the season. And so you don't have those extra days. Now, what we got to do is utilize the time we have to expedite the preparation, though. Because what you miss in terms of not having those couple days is physically, You know, we're pretty healthy after this past game, but the mental preparation of knowing exactly what to do. So we got to make sure we utilize every hour of the day to capitalize off of the preparation. But for us, it's new routine. This is just game week. We had 7 days between games.
Front row on your right, Eric Hansen.
Hey, Coach, good news. I think you're past the middle eight of this press conference.
That's long, man.
It is. I'll try to be easy on you. Coogan's speeches, I don't know how much you even hear about what the content of them are, but I'm curious.
You're talking Pat Coogan?
Yeah, Pat Coogan. What the effect of his words are on this team, what the effect of his kind of zigzaggy journey is on this team. Pat Coogan.
What
In terms of helping you be a better team.
Oh, yeah. Cougs is an unbelievable leader. He is passionate about this place, and he's passionate about that position. You know, he's another guy that we could use as an example, is almost like we did with Junior. That started the year as a backup. He was a returning starter, and to start the season, we felt like what was best for that game was, you know, to have him a backup. And he didn't complain. He just worked. And now, you know, he's in the position he's in where he's our starting center, and he's just battling and doing a great job, and he's leading a group. I mean, he's a mature individual that there's some young guys in that offensive line room that he is leading, and he's having a major impact on that room, but also our offense.
He's got some mottos too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got to hear some of these speeches.
Yeah, you need to look at Twitter from this last one. The last thing for me is the early enrollees, the few guys that are here. What do you get from having? What does you as a team and a coach get out of having them here? What do you hope they get out of this experience?
Yeah. They have to add value to our program, or we're wasting time. If there's somebody in our locker room or in that team meeting room that's not adding value to our program, they shouldn't be here. And that's what we've communicated with them. Your role now for the value you're going to bring is scout team, and all 4 of those guys have to make sure they add value to our program, and they did. Those 4 guys made us better. Those 4 guys that we brought in made us better. And here's the other thing I told them is the reward, the feeling they get from the reward of the last game is going to be different than any feeling they've had leading up to that point. And I remember the very first day they were here, I said, you guys get excited and you're happy when we win, right? And yeah. They're in the back of the meeting room, and they're like, yeah. I said, just wait till after this next one where you're invested in this program, because the amount you invest is going to determine the feeling you get from the reward. And those guys have invested in our program. No matter if they played on the game, they played in the game or not on Thursday. They didn't play, but they had a part of making sure that we were ready for that game. And I hope they get as much out of it as they're giving to this team. You know, that's why they're doing it. I hope they're learning. They're getting just thrown into the fire like this is. You're talking about. It's different. Last year with CJ, we were getting ready for a bowl game, right? It's a little bit different. You're talking about you're thrown in the fire, getting ready for a playoff game, and those guys have done a really good job in the short time they've been here.
That's our time for today. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Like you knew. You sense it.